deadly attacks on Dagestan places of worship. Autocracy is evil, Taiwan president says. French snap election brings violence risk. U.S. aircraft carrier arrives in South Korea. Levels of contamination in Seine remain unsafe for Paris Olympians. Harry Styles' superfans flock to his tiny hometown.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, June 25th, and here are your top stories. Gunmen opened fire on places of worship in two cities in Russia's southernmost Dagestan province on Sunday, killing at least 15 police officers, an Orthodox priest, and 4 civilians in what appeared to be a coordinated attack. The attacks occurred in the Republic of Dagestan in the North Caucasus, a predominantly Muslim region on the Caspian Sea with a history of separatist and militant violence. Turbulence in the region has been further exacerbated by Russia's war in Ukraine, where ethnic minorities have been disproportionately mobilized to fight. Russian law enforcement agencies told TASS on Sunday that the gunmen in Dagestan were adherents of an international terrorist organization.
Sergei Melikov, head of the Dagestan Republic, said at least 6 militants were also killed following the attacks on churches, synagogues, and police posts in the cities of Derbent and the regional capital, Makhachkala, which are about 120 kilometers apart. Video and photos showed large flames and plumes of smoke billowing heavily out of a synagogue in Derbent, while footage filmed from the window of a building in Makhachkala shows black-clad unidentified individuals shooting at a police car in the street. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attacks, which come 3 months after the ISIS affiliate, ISIS-K, said it carried out an assault at the Crocus City Hall in Moscow that claimed more than 140 lives in one of Russia's deadliest terrorist atrocities in years.
Democracy is not a crime, and autocracy is the real evil. Taiwan President Lai Ching-te said Monday after China threatened to impose the death penalty in extreme cases for die-hard Taiwan independent separatists. China, which views Taiwan as its own territory, has made no secret of its dislike of Lai, who took office last month, calling him a separatist and staging war games shortly after his inauguration. On Friday, China ramped up its pressure on Taiwan by issuing new legal guidelines to punish those it says support the island's formal independence, though Chinese courts have no jurisdiction over the democratically governed island.
Asked about China's move at a news conference at the presidential office in Taipei, Lai first reiterated his sympathy for the recent flooding in southern China before responding. He said, "I want to stress, democracy is not a crime. It's autocracy that is the real evil. China has absolutely no right to sanction Taiwan's people just because of the positions they hold. What's more, China has no right to go after Taiwan people's rights across borders. According to China, anyone who does not uphold reunification is therefore a Taiwan independence supporter." Taiwan said that since Thursday, there has been a sharp increase in Chinese military flights as Beijing carried out a joint combat readiness patrol near the island. Taiwan has said that for the past 4 years, China has carried out regular military activity around the island as part of a gray zone pressure campaign.
Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said Monday that France could see civil unrest and violence that is related to the elections as campaigning enters its last week before the first round of voting. Darmanin told RTL Radio it's possible that there will be extremely strong tensions, adding that authorities were preparing for a highly inflammable situation with a vote taking place less than a month before the Paris 2024 Olympics. He added, "People says no to the Parisians, to the elites with their diplomas."
President Emmanuel Macron, who shocked the nation with a decision to dissolve the National Assembly earlier this month, is not on the ballot. However, for many voters, the election is perceived as a referendum on the fate of a president once seen as able to overcome political divisions, but whose approval ratings collapsed after several political crises. "I trust you," Macron told voters in a letter to the French, published on Sunday, in which he sought to cast his camp, lagging in the polls behind the far right and a newly formed left-wing alliance, as the last hope for stability. He added, "I'm not blind. I'm aware of the democratic malaise. Macron also reiterated that he would stay in office until his term ends in 2027 regardless of the outcome of the election.
A United States Navy aircraft carrier has arrived in South Korea for a show of force as Washington, Seoul, and Tokyo released a joint statement on Monday condemning the deepening military ties between North Korea and Russia. The nuclear-powered USS Theodore Roosevelt docked in the port of Busan on Saturday ahead of trilateral exercises with South Korea and Japan in the waters near the peninsula. Besides signing the defense deal with Kim Jong-un, Putin also linked security on the Korean peninsula to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, threatening to arm North Korea should South Korea provide military aid to Kyiv.
The Freedom Edge exercises resulted from an agreement made by the defense chiefs of the U.S., South Korea, and Japan before Russian leader Vladimir Putin made his high-profile trip to Pyongyang last week. However, the strongly worded joint statement the three partners released Monday shows the gravity with which they view the new strategic partnership between North Korea and Russia made during Putin's trip. The joint statement said that the U.S., South Korea, and Japan condemn in the strongest possible terms deepening military cooperation between the DPRK and Russia, using the acronym for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea's official name. The aircraft carrier's presence in Busan is just the latest in a series of U.S. military moves to show Washington's ironclad commitment to its treaty ally in South Korea.
According to a monitoring report from the city of Paris, contamination levels in River Seine remain unsafe for Olympians to compete, with just over a month remaining before the Games. Routine samples collected from June 10th to 16th revealed elevated levels of E. coli bacteria, indicating fecal matter at multiple sites along the Seine. Paris plans for athletes to compete in marathon swimming and triathlon events in the Seine during the Olympics. The first such event is the men's triathlon, which is scheduled for July 30th. To make that possible, Paris spent about $1.5 billion to clean up the city's old sewer system, which discharges into the river during bouts of heavy rainfall.
The International Olympic Committee and Paris 2024, the local organizing group in Paris, did not immediately respond to inquiries from NBC News. Last year, test events of triathlon and marathon swimming in the Seine, designed to make sure the Olympic competitions run smoothly, were canceled after the river failed pollution tests in August. The weather can play an outsized role in pollution in the Seine. According to the new report, exceptional rainfall in May and rainy days last week diminished water quality significantly. The report also noted that there have not been sunny days or periods with lower streamflow, which can help reduce bacteria. Conditions in the Seine have been under scrutiny for months. The nonprofit Surfrider Foundation Europe released independent results from 6 months of tests and found almost all samples failed permitted levels of E. coli and enterococci.
Customers come from around the world to Simon Wakefield's bakery in this village in northern England, and not just to sample his quality sausage rolls. Wakefield says we get lots and lots of fans, referring not only to W. Mandeville's tasty products, but also to a notable ex-employee, Thomas Chapel's most famous son and global pop megastar Harry Styles. The fourth-generation baker says people come in from all over the world, with groups of young tourists crowding into the bakery to take selfies and buy pastries. He added, all over the UK, but also from Brazil, the US, Australia, Japan, and everywhere.
W. Mandeville is one of the stops lining the Harry Styles walking tour that began operating earlier this month in the singer's hometown, located about 20 miles from the northwestern city of Manchester. A local not-for-profit set up the tour after a growing number of fans flocked there in recent years, with all proceeds going into a fund for the village. The Superfans, known as Harrys, are led to the Twemlow Viaduct, where residents say Harry had his first kiss, which is covered in colorful messages to Harry and has even spawned its own hashtag. They are also taken through the village, where many line up at Wakefield's craft bakery to pose for photos with a poster of the former One Direction member as a teenager wearing an apron.
The answer for yesterday was A, subtle. She's been dropping subtle hints about what she would like as a president. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of levels of contamination in Seine remain unsafe for Paris Olympians. Number 1, bacteria. 细菌. Chlorine is added to kill bacteria. Number 2, discharge. 排出,放出,流出. The factory was fined for discharging chemicals into the river. Number 3, diminish. 减少,使减少,降低. His influence has diminished with time. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Would you answer what you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.